I'll share the rule of 115s. I don't know how many people listening have heard of the rule of 115s. You probably heard of the rule of 72s, where if you know the rate of growth, like we're having 5% inflation, 6% inflation, 4% inflation, 4 into 72 is 18. Every 18 years, your investment doubles. So if we just stick at 4% inflation, which I think is going to go up, in 18 years, if you bought something for $200,000, it's worth $400,000. In 36 years, it's worth $800,000. If you had a 30-year loan, it's probably paid off. So it's that time perspective. Rule of 115s says, I like to move things faster. Take that same rate of growth, like 4% or 5%, divide it into 115. That tells you how quick your property triples in value. Those are two powerful rules that understand the time perspective. And you can do your own, and people listening, if they have a property, can do their own.
All right, guys, here we go now. It is time to unlock more doors to deals. We're real estate investors here. We're real estate agents here, and we all have one thing in common. We believe that we can. We can live the life of our purpose. We can create financial freedom. We can build a better life for those that we love, and we can live the life of our dreams. I don't care if you're trying to do your first deal or your 500th this year. You can get to the next level, and we're here to help. All right, time to get going on another Doors to Deals episode. I'm your co-host and founder, Jim Manning, and today's episode can be found on doorstodeals.com/079. Today we have Wayne Paprocki on the line here, and Wayne, oh my goodness, who is this Wayne guy? He's had a lot of accolades, guys. Like, he's been a coach and a mentor. He's been the Illinois Real Estate Educator of the Year. He's a master certified real estate negotiation trainer, and the list goes on. And he even has a new book called Mastering the Art of Success that's written, but with a couple people you may have heard of, Les Brown, Mark Hansen, and then Jack Canfield, which is the Soup for the Soul guy, and all those books. So this dude is crazy successful. He's crazy accomplished, and he's an even better human being. So I'm excited to share this episode with you today. Before we get started, our main mission. So this podcast is called the Doors to Deals podcast. And our company that we run in St. Louis with Ryan Wessels, myself, Caleb, and the rest of the team, we call ourselves Three Doors, our real estate company. And we do several hundred deals a year. And our goal, our 10-year target, is to help 250 people become financially free, whether that's ourselves, our clients, or our clients' friends, you name it. Some people that we know that we're just wanting to bless with financial freedom. And last year, we generated about $130,000 a month in passive income. It's one of my most proud achievements. Pumps me up every single day just thinking about how we're able to bless all these lives. And if you have that in your heart as well, you'd like to become financially free, shoot us over an email. We have a lot of opportunities for you. Deals@threedoors.com. That's DEALS at 3doors, THREE doors.com. And just subject it passive income opportunities. And we can get you more information on how we're helping a lot of people out already and how we can help you out too. So then the last thing, guys, is let's get going with our iTunes review of the week.
This week's review comes to us from Drage170 titled Real Estate Investing, 5 stars. Drage writes, I've learned a ton from Three Doors over the years. Their passion to teach others and share their real-life on-the-job knowledge is always apparent. I look forward to continuing my real estate education with them. Drage, thank you for your review. Jim, back to you.
All right, guys. Well, the review's over. My talking's over on this intro. It's time to get started on the episode. Let's get rolling. All right. Hey, guys. Jim here again. And today we have Wayne Paprocki on the line here. And definitely excited about this one. And you know what? Let's just get right into it. So, Wayne, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and let's get started, man.
Well, my background, obviously, I can go back to day of birth, but that's going to take too long. So I think I'll start further along in my life. But I was a wandering generality, and finally decided that real estate training and investing might be in my best interest because I read a book years ago by Andrew Carnegie that said 90% of the wealthy millionaires made their money in real estate investing and owning businesses. So my life has been those two things. And I preach to all the agents I train across the country to buy at least 2 income properties every year for their exit strategy, for the tax benefits, and all those things. So that's been my life: training, consulting, coaching, and selling real estate. So right now I do a number of designations on negotiation, and I have Wayne's World of Wealth Building, which is why I think I can add some depth to the people in the audience today in terms of questions and comments.
Absolutely. I love that. And so you said wandering generality. This is how much of like a nerd I am. So I first heard that coined by Zig Ziglar. Is that the true origins of that, or is that somebody else's term?
And I have been fortunate. A very good friend who was in this house with me many years. I was at his place in Dallas, and we became very good friends through the National Speakers Association. He taught me how to speak, basically.
Zig did, huh?
Yes, he did.
Really?
And I met his brother, Judge Ziegler, who wrote an interesting little book called Lousy Salespeople Raise Skinny Kids. So, I mean, I have a tremendous group of mentors and friends in the speaking industry, in the real estate industry, in a number of different places. So I was blessed to be a friend of Zig Ziglar's and a colleague.
That's amazing. So I haven't actually met anybody that, that was a close friend of Zig's. He's like for those of you that don't know, I mean, was it the 90s or was it he was just a very famous, very popular
80s.
In the 80s and, like kind of into the 90s. He was like the man on on some trainings and speaking. And I'll even pull up for like our internal team some of Zig's old, like there's some YouTube videos like, back from the 80s and 90s of him talking, and man, what a wealth of knowledge and wisdom Zig was.
His greatest, I guess, package was see you at the top.
Okay.
And then he went after that, how to get over the top. And we shared a lot of ideas because my mind works in mysterious ways. I'm very much right-brained. I think I have no left brain. It's all feelings. And so I think that way. But anyway, yes, I could spend 2 hours talking about my motivational life, but I'm more here for.
Absolutely. Yeah. What was the, this is maybe for myself, what was like the most important thing you learned from Zig, do you think? If you had to just kind of define it in one sentence.
You can have anything in life that you want if you just help enough other people get what they want.
I love that.
Or even shorter, because I'll give you 2. It's your attitude, not your aptitude, that determines your altitude. And that's so true in real estate.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that. Let's get into like real estate, like kind of like when you were starting out, and what year was that when you kind of were reading up on it?
I actually, back to my background, I was a consultant, still am, for corporate clients, PepsiCo, GE, Kraft, etc. But I was asked to teach at the Graduate Realtors Institute back in the early 80s. And I was doing great, but I never had a real estate license. So they told me I couldn't continue to teach realtors across the country. So I went to a community college, and this has started as a $50 course to get a license. And here I am today with a lot of stuff to share and businesses and properties that are amazing to me after holding them for so long. So
I guess you got that return on investment from your $50.
Yeah, I think I get my money back. I really do. And now I'm back to I can get by giving some back.
Oh, that's amazing. So early in your career, were you doing a lot of the training? Like, were you personally investing, or you said you're an agent as well, doing some deals? Like, walk me into that.
I did my own. In fact, somebody just sent me 2 of my original listings from the early 80s. They found in an old someplace for like minuscule monies, but brought back memories. But yes, I was actively selling. I took a sales training course from another genius, Floyd Wickman, who developed a program called Sweat Hogs back then. and I became a sweat hog trainer. And my claim to fame as a real estate agent was 67 listings in 70 days, no relatives or builders. So I learned how to sell real estate from Floyd, learned to get my head on straight from Zig and other people. But more importantly, I then started to realize if I own a business and buy investment real estate, maybe, just maybe, I should be like those people that Andrew Carnegie said are self-made millionaires. With that said, I looked at the opportunities for cash flow, capitalization rate, things that hopefully most people in the audience are aware of, or at least should be aware of, or I'll cover them today if they want. And I looked at housing choice vouchers in college towns, people that need money, students, people that need some extra money or maybe support totally from a county. And I started converting older homes in college towns into 2 units and then getting them approved for housing choice vouchers and getting above market rent.
Wow.
And so then the numbers started to work as they should. And that became the model for a long time. Buying up older homes in college towns, converting the 2 or 3 flats, depending how big they were, and then putting housing choice voucher people in those so my rent was guaranteed by the government. So I love housing choice vouchers.
So how many, how big did your portfolio end up getting? Like kind of like in
Up to 186 properties at the height.
186 properties.
Yes. But I just talked to one of my students who called me and said, 30 years ago, I took your seminar. I was 20 years old. You told me to do 3 things, and I hope the people listening will think about these 3 if they're not already doing them. 1, get a real estate license as soon as you can. 2, buy at least 2 income properties a year and create multiple streams of income. He owns 1,200 units at 50 years old.
That's amazing.
I felt like I'm a little peon at 186. My student has 1,200.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about that, Wayne? I have a mentor that shared with me a story that I think like we don't think about it that often. He and a group of friends, there's 3 real estate investors, himself being one of them, went on a Europe trip. They had the time of their life for like an entire week, and him and his buddy owned in the teens. They had, let's just say 15 units a piece, but they own those properties free and clear. And one of their other buddies had 1,200 units, but they were all highly leveraged. So the week goes by and they're like, hey, we had such a good time. You know what? Let's just extend this vacation. Let's just stay another week. And his friend that had had all those rentals and had all the leverage said, you know what, guys, I can't do it. I have to go back. I got too many fires to put out. So like that's one of the things I love about real estate and really America as a whole, right? Is like you get to define what winning is to you. You get to define what your ideal portfolio is. And if you can just get out of that comparison game that we're just so prone to do and not worry about that somebody has 1,000 units compared to your 20, like you can win life at a bigger level with 20 units and somebody else that has 1,000.
Well, that's the whole deal with net worth. What's a millionaire? I mean, it means a lot to people, but the point is well taken in that I think the secret, or not a secret, but common sense says borrow as much as you can, but pay it off as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Because you're never going to leverage anything. I mean, here we are. I just got a flyer from Citibank that Huntington Bank, they'll loan me money at 1.99%. Flat rate, no fees. So I can go borrow some money to buy a home. Will they let me borrow that money to buy some other stock? Nope. They'll let me borrow money to buy real estate, but I can't invest in their bank by saying, okay, I'll borrow $100,000 and buy your stock. Well, no, we can't secure that. So real estate to me is the ideal investment. And there's 5 reasons I say that, which I can cover later or
Okay.
At some point in time. But the point is, that's why I got so focused. And you're absolutely right. I've seen people I just gave a lady her first loan because I'll borrow money to people to buy her first property in Kenosha, Wisconsin. She's so excited. She's finished rehabbing it. She's got a tenant coming in March 1st. The numbers are going to look good. She's using a housing choice voucher in Wisconsin. That's her first. She may only have 1 more. She may have 10 more. But the power is understanding the time perspective, because you are correct. I'm sitting here with them all paid off. Somebody else is struggling because of COVID, rent's not coming in. Amazing. I'm sitting right here on the floor. I just raised a building's rents, every single person, and they're glad to pay more money because the building's kept clean. So I always say, as buying a real estate investment, if you can buy one in the first year, break even. Just break even. You're one rent increase away from positive cash flow. Not a bad way to start. But I do, yes, agree with you totally. It's not the number. It's also the whole aspect of the investing process and the exit strategy.
So what's interesting is I find myself, this is like in a debate that I don't think either side can win. Like, how much leverage do you do? Do you try and do free and clear, or do you always have them leveraged? And I have a property that's free and clear right now that I didn't think I would ever cash out of, because I just like the income coming in. And I refinanced it last week, and I refinanced it. I pulled cash out because of inflation, and because I want 30-year money that I want tenants to pay for, and like 10 years from now, when the dollar's worth half of what it is today, I'm still going to be making that same fixed payment. So and I'm 38 though too, right? So like there's different cycles in your life as well where you may decide to do that or not. What are your thoughts, since you've been doing this as long as you have, on this topic, and like how do you feel about it? What do you do?
Well, I mean, I think obviously other people's money makes a lot of sense, because I probably can find better investment. I mean, right now, if I can borrow $450,000 at 1.99%, why would I want to use my money? I can find a better investment someplace that would keep me ahead of the game and control it. So like I say, I feel comfortable borrowing as much as I can, but paying it off as fast as I can to keep the flow of money going. My analogy is like when you go to a buffet and they have soup you can have, and they have gravy you can have. If nobody stirs the gravy, it gets that layer on top that's kind of scummy, and you got to lift it up and throw it away. Well, money works the same way. Money has to keep moving around. If you understand macroeconomics and the money supply, there is a velocity of currency. So I like my money to move around. On the other hand, I don't feel uncomfortable if some people choose to be safe and hold on to their money. I mean, that's the beauty of investing. If you want to keep a 50-year loan, I mean, you can get a 50-year loan. That's like guaranteed rent, but at least you got a loan. Somebody else wants to pay it off in 15 or 10 now because of our low rates. I think that's their choice. But you made me think of something. Selling real estate, I was the person in the office who people would send me because a renter came in and they didn't want to deal with renters. Oh, I don't want those renters. There's no money in finding somebody an apartment. So I found people places, but they weren't rentals. I did a little pre-checking, a little stuff, and I said, hey, why don't you go look at these 3 houses this weekend and see which one you'd like to rent from me then? Well, those are for sale. I said, well, don't worry about that. If you like them, I'll buy it. I bought many investment properties by sending people who came in to be renters, and they found the house they wanted to live in. And then my best example is right down the street from me, well over 25 years ago. A couple loved the house. I said, I got good news and bad news. We can buy it, but you've been getting a tremendous rent from where you're at. Your landlord has never raised your rent because you were great tenants. I'll buy this house, you love it, but I'll have to raise your rent 50% to make it work for me. If you can do it, you've been getting a great deal. You're never going to find anything better. They took it. I gave them an 8-year lease with an option to renew for another 7 because their daughter wanted to stay in our school district. Now, why do you think I gave them an 8 and a 7? Because it adds up to 15.
Yeah.
And 15
you're on
years
a 15-year note. Yeah.
with me, they paid for the house. And that house today in Northbrook is on a teardown street. It's a 1950s ranch with a 1-car attached garage. Around it are homes worth up to $2 million. It's a teardown street. Those people bought me a property I can tear down this year and put up a $2 million house for sale. Long-term tenants, tremendous.
I love real estate.
Tremendous. I've got people that single came into an apartment, got married, had kids, kids moved out, spouse died. I've watched their whole life go from single to married to kids to weddings to a spouse dying. This is a get rich slowly system in my mind, and taking advantage of the tremendous tax laws to avoid taxes like poison.
So, and let's get into some of the advantages here in a little bit. But before we do that, so you've been, what year did you start again? If you said it again,
Early 80s.
The early
My
80s.
first investment property was 84. Started selling real estate in 82.
Okay, 82. So it's been 40 years now,
Yes.
Wayne. And so you've seen a lot of different things in real estate. What do you think holds people back? Like what gets in people's way? Like, I think logically we all know, like, yeah, we need to buy and hold on to real estate. And especially real estate agents. To me, there's no excuse for a real estate agent that already knows over 80% of the important aspects to real estate, like when it comes to buying a property, right? How to value the house and everything like that. And yet I I don't know what the stats are, but it's maybe 10% of agents actually own real estate. So like it's an obvious thing. And I think logically most agents understand that, and most people understand, like, hey, buying rentals is a good thing. And yet so few people do it. Like what is that gap? Like, why does that happen?
5 reasons why people don't buy real estate. Probably other things too. And I don't know if people that are listening have a pen and pencil handy, but I'd write these down if I were you. My friend Zig Ziglar, who he brought up, always had this crazy phrase: a short pencil is always better than a long memory. So 5 reasons why people will not build wealth. Number 1, it didn't occur to them. They think they have to have money. They think there's going to be too many problems. Well, I don't want to be a repairman. I don't want to be a building superintendent. You work those numbers out with either a property manager. All my homes have home warranties on. I don't even know when stuff gets fixed. My tenants pay the trade fee as part of the lease, unless it's damage that was caused not by them. So if a tenant clogs the toilet, they call American Home Shield or Super or Choice, and they pay the $75 trade fee. Now, if the water heater blows up, I'll pay the $75. But if I didn't clog your toilet, I didn't break your window, I didn't smash that sink, I didn't break this, you pay for that. So it's like, and everything is fixed, everything is fine. They have 800 numbers to call. If there's no heat, somebody comes out fast. Didn't occur to them all these things you can do without having a lot of stress. Once it occurs to them, and maybe it's for somebody today listening, then they didn't decide to do it. Well, you know why? That's a good idea, but it's snow. In the spring, I'll start looking for some houses. So the third problem is they put it off. They procrastinate. Now, if you think about that, they didn't decide to do it, but once they decided, they procrastinated. But it all started with, didn't occur to them. Some people don't understand me and think I'm totally nuts because I bought a 2-unit with housing choice vouchers in with 22 Visa cards. Now that's gutsy because I got a guts gauge. I walk in with 22 Visa cards. I'm totally leveraged and I have no mortgage on the property when we go to the closing. Now that's the extreme. Somebody else wants to put 50% down. That's their choice. The beauty of investing is you can make those choices. Do you want cash flow? Do you want appreciation? Do you want long-term appreciation? Do you want to flip? All these options are available. Now, once they put it off, who knows if they come back? But the 4th reason they don't build well is we are a society where people cannot delay instant gratification. They want something now and don't see real estate in the same way. But then the most important, the 5th reason is because real estate is based on this, you don't understand the time perspective. So I'll share the rule of 115s. I don't know how many people listening have heard of the rule of 115s. You probably heard of the rule of 72s, where if you know the rate of growth, like we're having 5% inflation, 6% inflation, 4% inflation, 4 into 72 is 18. Every 18 years, your investment doubles. So if we just stick at 4% inflation, which I think is going to go up, in 18 years, he bought something for $200,000, it's worth $400,000. In 36 years, it's worth $800,000. If you had a 30-year loan, it's probably paid off. So it's that time perspective. Rule of 115 says, I like to move things faster. Take that same rate of growth, like 4% or 5%, divide it into 115. That tells you how quick your property triples in value. Those are two powerful rules that understand the time perspective. And you can do your own, and people listening, if they have a property, can do their own. So I think it didn't occur to them. They didn't decide to do it. They put it off. They can't lay instant gratification. They don't understand the time perspective. That's, to me, the 5 reasons why it's not going to happen.
Yeah, what is that? You reminded me of that Albert Einstein quote that compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Like
credit is a power tool in a consumer workshop. Use it to your advantage. It makes life simpler. If you use it the wrong way, it'll kill you, called bankruptcy. Just like power tools. You know how to use a power saw? You can cut wood, do all kinds of stuff. Don't follow the rules. You might hurt an eye, cut off a finger. So some people don't use credit properly or use it the wrong way. And so it hurts them instead of helps them. So if you use it the right way, boom.
So let's talk about this, because I want to circle back earlier. I meant to ask you this, then our conversation went another way. So you said kind of know the rules of the game. So one of your rules is that you borrow as much as you can and pay it off as fast as you can. How do you decide what percentage of cash to keep liquid, just for, you have that short-term need or that roof needs to get replaced or whatnot, right? Versus the money to take and then to pay down the asset. Like how did you do that, like in your career?
Well, the fastest way is obviously rather than use the typical way a person gets a paycheck every month or rent every month, I took out a HELOC, home equity line of credit, on properties versus for a first mortgage. So now, as soon as I get a rent check, the whole thing goes in to reduce the interest. Then if I need money, I write a check off the HELOC account. So my money's always earning money because I'm reducing that loan immediately. So I might get a bunch of rent checks on the first of the month. Let's say I get $20,000, $5,000, makes no difference. That goes right into the HELOC immediately, starting that day. That reduces the principal balance by $5,000. That makes a big difference because I'm using compound interest to my effect. I'm buying down that loan, maybe only for 2 weeks, but I bought it down. Now I got to write a check for maintenance, or I got to write a check for association dues, or I got to pay a builder or somebody. I'll put that on a credit card. Now, I understand this is not for everybody, but with 200 plus credit cards, I got a lot of different billing dates. And so today is the 2nd. Let's assume I have an emergency and a new boiler in one of my buildings or a new furnace in one of my homes. I'm going to call that guy to come out. Let's say it's $2,000. If I use a credit card that had a billing date on the 1st of February, that means I don't have to get that bill till March 1 and not pay it till April 1. I've got 2 months of using somebody else's money for free, no interest. I can earn more money, rearrange some money, go find a 1.99% loan and pay it off. I've got flexibility. I can't borrow money when I need it. You never get a good interest rate.
So this strategy, guys, this has been around a while. I think I've heard people call it sweep accounts.
That could be a way of looking at it.
And now there's different nuances too. Like there's different ways to do it. We're going to have, I don't know if you've heard of all-in-one before, Wayne, but that we're going to have a gentleman even on the podcast here in a couple of weeks from a company called All-in-One. And what they do is it's for your principal residence. It is an automatic sweep account that will go in and it will automatically do the transfers for you when money comes in. How are you doing this? Were you leveraging your personal residence too? Or
no, these are income properties. These are income properties.
Yeah. So walk me through that structure,
okay.
Because I haven't.
So I've got a home around the corner I rent. It's a 6-bedroom home. Okay. That's the one where they just offered me the HELOC for $450,000. It's worth more, but that's all they're going to give me. Okay. Now it's 1.99%, no fees, no applications, no nothing. Okay. I can write checks. I got a checking account. So I can pay anybody. I could borrow money and buy a house and have no mortgage and have a high HELOC loan on that investment property if I want to do it that way. Or I can just use it as I need it or not use it at all. It's not costing me anything to keep it. I think it's $50 a year at an annual fee or something. So I've used HELOCs on income property because I think you've got to, especially if you have a partner or a spouse, you just can't start using your home as a way to get money because something could happen. And I'm a little conservative in that respect. That's your home. I've seen a lot of people make a big mistake. And here's why I say this. In my Wayne's World of Wealth Building seminar, I have a program called the 10 Commandments of Wealth Building for people. I do it for corporations, etc. One of them is based on the fact that we see a lot of these people offering you these debt consolidation loans. Oh my God, take all your credit cards and get this home equity line of credit. But not one institution ever has said that I've seen is that when you move everything from a credit card account, and maybe it's a high interest rate, it's an unsecured loan. As soon as you put it into your home equity line of credit, it's now a secured loan. And if you happen to have some tough times like people are today, you have to go through bankruptcy, that is secured and you're stuck with that debt. Where if you go under with Visa, they got to come and find you and they won't even look for you.
Yes, that's a great, that's a very good point. So then do you start out owning the property free and clear and then you tie a HELOC to it or Hey there, if you're looking to get the ultimate edge for your real estate investing company, go to doorstodeals.com/invest for more information. Just so you know, a high percentage of the people that we interview on this podcast are actually already Three Doors Network members. And our network members have a lot of extra resources. They have access to an online training vault with over 3 years worth of content in it. They have access to vendor savings like our Home Depot discount that's literally saved thousands of dollars for members. And we have a weekly group coaching call, and we have a lot of other great things as well as part of the Three Doors Network. So make sure that you check it out on doorstodeals.com/invest. So then do you start out owning the property free and clear and then you tie a HELOC to it or talk to me about that structure?
That's where the credit cards come in. The moment I use those 22 credit cards to buy that property, I walked out of that place with property that had no mortgage on. I can borrow right against that and apply for the HELOC. Then start paying down balance transfers that are at 0% or 2% or 3.99% with the loan, but it's a HELOC. So I can write. So once you borrow money, you're stuck with that payment for as long as you do it. You're not stuck because I can do whatever I want. I can write a check. It's 1.99. I don't have to write a check. So from my perspective, now that takes some guts because I think everybody has a guts gauge in real estate investing. Some people are very conservative, and that's good. They want cash flow every month to put 50% down. I don't have a problem with that. Real estate's still the ideal investment. And I tell you right now, we're in a market where the last thing I did before I started selling real estate is investment diamond business. We sold investment grade diamonds for retirement, high-end, flawless, GIA certified stones. And right now, I'm telling people in my inflation seminar, 5 things to make sure you try to do this year: gold, silver, diamonds, real estate, and food storage. That's how you're going to get through 2022. Now, I'm biased on real estate because I can leverage. I can't leverage gold. I can't leverage silver. I can't leverage diamonds. I could use a credit card for some food. But the bottom line is that you watch a year from now, if I come back on this podcast and see what happened to people that use that strategy to get through this inflation versus something else. Those are the ways to get through a point where there's too many dollars chasing too few goods. And we got them. We got too many dollars chasing too few goods. So you got your choices: gold, silver, diamonds, real estate, or food storage. I'm biased.
Yeah, and it's a shame in that there's so much. Not to get too political here, we should kind of try and avoid that on this podcast. But it's a shame in that there's a lot of maybe dramas. Maybe not the best word for it, but there's a lot of conflict between like the wealth gap between kind of like the rich and everybody else, and unfortunately, in the environment we're at right now, with inflation, the gap's only going to get magnified. The middle class is just going to gonna really, and the poor are really gonna get hurt because they don't own assets that can hedge against inflation.
Let's talk about wage push inflation and price push inflation. Look at McDonald's menu. Try to buy a half gallon of ice cream. Try to buy a half gallon of orange juice. It's down to 52 ounces. So there's inflation, but they didn't raise the price. They squeezed the quantity, and the wrong people get hurt. So Spence, you brought up politics. I'm going to share this message. Everybody asks me, so are you Republican or Democrat? Who are you voting for? I said, it doesn't make a difference. I'm a real estate investor. Two things are going to happen. If Republicans get in, I'll get tax breaks. If Democrats get in, they'll give people money. We'll have inflation. I can raise my rents. What do we have now? Inflation. I'm sitting here with pieces of paper on the floor. 12 buildings, 12 homes have just had rent increases starting March 1st. The money's out there. I might as well get it before somebody else does. There's too many dollars chasing too few goods. So who got hurt? My tenants, because of inflation. You hit it right on the head. On the other hand, I've had tax breaks. So it doesn't make a difference to me. I can adjust. See, the key to me in just general wealth building is we have ORs and EEs, grantors, grant to grantees, lessors, lease to lessees, trustors, put in trust to trustees, vendors, sell to vendees. Well, in this marketplace, in life, not just real estate, in life, wealth transfers from one group of people to another group of people. No matter where we're at, you have to learn to be the transferee, not the transferor. See, I can receive some wealth by maybe buying a property that somebody's going into foreclosure on. They lost. I'm receiving that wealth. Inflation, I'm guessing a year from now, all my properties are going to go up in value. My rents are going up. So again, the secret to my thought process is I always want to be the transferee in the market economy. I don't care who's elected. I would prefer having somebody who doesn't give people more money and nobody's producing, because that's inflation, and inflation hurts the wrong people, as you said. Now that got off the topic, but that's the mindset you triggered.
No, absolutely. So let's go into, have your investments, let's kind of focus here for a little bit. I know you were doing the agent stuff too. You said you started out doing the buy and holds, kind of like the college units. Like, have you stayed true to that niche the last 40 years, or has there been any changes? Or let's go into that a little bit.
Yeah. About 10 years ago, I had a gentleman in one of my seminars, hungry. He was a contractor, young kid, worked for his father, and he got me thinking about flipping homes. So my philosophy in the last 10 years, maybe 8 years, has changed from buy 2 a year and hold on to them for retirement. He changed me to buy at least 3 a year, flip 2, keep 1, or flip 1 and keep 2. Ryan has flipped over 5,000 homes since I met him. He taught me how to flip. We've done some seminars together. So I guess my philosophy today with the mindset changing is there is something there for flippers, but I'm looking at the long-term exit strategy and the tax benefits. But I see nothing wrong today with flipping, because when I first started, we never flipped. It wasn't a flipping business back then. And just recently, because of interest rates, single family homes can positive cash flow. That was always a long-term investment. Now you can get single family homes. I could find 5 today in my market area where I could put no money down and have positive cash flow.
Yeah. So, what's fascinating about this, Wayne, is so our careers, I think, we've passed over the 3,000 deals mark either last year or the year before.
I love it.
And it makes me feel like, I can pump my chest up or whatnot. But so we were running several hundred flips in a year. And I don't know if I ever slowed down to actually do the math, because if you do the math, guys, and you take a $20,000 check that you receive from a flip, and then you take taxes out of it and all the insurance bill that you get and all that other stuff. And, let's say you hold on to 10 of it, right? And so, you made 20, but you kept 10, and you compare that to just holding on to that piece of real estate for 30 years and the tax benefits that you get. I mean, literally, like when you run the numbers, you're walking away from tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for the same piece of real estate. if you could just get over the quick buck thing and then like
Didn't
buy it and hold on to
understand
it.
the time perspective and
Yeah.
can't tell the instant gratification.
Yeah.
That's exactly in your way of saying it how I said it.
Yeah.
Exactly. But again, there's nothing wrong with making 10 here, 5 there, 3 here, 7 there. It's your choice. I have no problem with that. But I'm looking at an exit strategy.
Yeah.
And I can always sell if I want to sell. But the depreciation, the equity buildup, and if you're a real estate professional, you have unlimited passive losses, which can start accelerating like crazy. Because every $1 million, and you know this, and maybe your audience does too, so I'm repeating things, and I'm sorry, but every $1 million of building value, you're getting $36,000 against your income.
Yeah, I mean, there's properties that you can save more than 10,000 on taxes than that 10,000
Well,
check
and
would have been, right?
In Illinois, we're trying to integrate with different people in different neighborhoods and different towns. So in the town we live, there are certain census tracts where if I buy an income property there and rent it under affordable housing, not only do I get above market rent, I get property tax breaks in the thousands. Just change my capitalization rate tremendously because they want to integrate into these predominantly one type of neighborhood to bring other people in. And so they're finding census tracts as a way to do that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, when I was earlier in my career, I thought this is really funny. I'm a little embarrassed about what I thought, but I'll share it with everybody anyway. I sold a rental property to an 82-year-old man. This was like when I was, 10 plus years ago. I was in my early 20s or mid 20s. And I thought, oh man, he overpaid from fair market by $4,000 on this property. I really got him. And then now I'm looking at what the property's worth today. 10 years later, it's like, okay, I think the 82-year-old investor got me. I think he knew better than I did.
Think of something else. Every time I put a renter in one of my homes, they can have a rent-to-own lease if they want, because that's a vision that I think they want. They just can't do it right now. They may need some help with some credits. We'll figure something out. But I'm guaranteeing you, and maybe you know this, if I give you a rent-to-own, you take better care of it just in case it might be yours.
What percentage of those that you have done do they end up executing?
Very few. I'm with a couple right now in a 6-bedroom home. She's an attorney. He is in business. It's their 6th year of renting the 6-bedroom house. They wanted to do it at the beginning. They couldn't. Their lease is coming up. I said, you still can do the option. Nah, we just want to rent again, maybe. For whatever reason. They've never exercised that option in 6 years, and they want to sign a new lease in May. So it's hard to predict. And again, I just always feel that there's almost some pride of ownership by I could buy this. Subliminally, I think they're thinking, this is my house. I have a chance to buy this. The terms are there. Everything's up front.
Well, yeah. And I mean, and technically, owner by contract, I mean, they do have an ownership stake by contract. So.
No, it's just a lease, though. It's a lease with option to buy.
Yep.
So, but they don't have to exercise the option. They could sell the option if they want to somebody else if they move out, and I'd have to abide by it. I'm okay with that. The bottom line is a small portion do. I like them to. And the ones that don't, if they move out, because they have real estate license, usually find them a place to live. So I make a sale on the property. That's where I'm so focused on everybody getting real estate license. For the tax benefits, realtors get that non-realtors don't get. And oftentimes my tenants become my clients.
Yeah. How many times has that happened for you?
Oh my God. Well over 100.
Wow. In
my lifetime. Just had two last year, and I got one coming up this year for sure.
What's interesting on this, guys, is like there's really not anything at this point new under the sun when it comes to investing. You'll hear on YouTube somebody has like a sexy new name for something, but like these strategies been around a long time, and they're going to be around a long time after we're
talked about
we're
the
all
biweekly
gone.
mortgage. Why would anybody not make twice a month payment instead of a once a month payment? The numbers are a 30-year loan goes down to about 23 years just by making every 2-week payment instead of every month payment. If your mortgage payment's $2,000 a month, every 2 weeks, put in $1,000 a month. You just knock 7 years almost of your mortgage payments off.
Yeah. Depending on price point, that can be 20, 30, 50 grand worth of interest you just saved.
Yeah. Well, more. If I'm paying $1,000 a month and I pay it off 7 years early, it's $84,000. I just saved in interest. And it's mine in 23 instead of 30. I mean, there's strategies all over the place. The key is what I say: borrow as much as you can, pay as fast as you can. Taking an amortization schedule and paying next month's principal with the regular monthly payment changes a 30-year loan to a 15-year loan and cuts the interest rate in half. Wow, my 30 loan became a 15-year loan because I pumped extra money in. Just take my amortization chart, first payment, next month's principal. That's one payment. Next month, payment, next month's principal. Make 180 payments instead of 360. And my interest rate goes down in half. The strategies are endless that allow me to believe that I want to borrow as much as I can, but pay it off as fast as I can. That's me. Doesn't mean that's good for everybody.
So
that's the beauty of this investment business. You can do any way you want.
So where are you seeing, like based on kind of your experience, and kind of fast forward to today and today's market and environment, what are you, what's going through your head? Like, how are you going to capitalize and like what strategies are you really wanting to focus on in today's market?
Well, two things. Number one, because of my age, I'm not in that buy tons of property. I'm starting to do 1031 exchange and doing some things differently, but I've got a second wind here. So I just see the opportunities this year where some people are going to have to lose their properties. We got loads of people in my market area who have overpaid because of this frenzy of multiple offers. They bid things up. They put a half down, so no lender was concerned. But now they're not going to be able to make it because something happens unexpectedly, whether it's COVID, whether it's job losses, whether it's who knows what. And they're going to lose their equity, and it won't be a foreclosure. So I don't see nearly as many foreclosures because they put so much down to bid 30, 20, 40, 80 over market. I do a course called Certified Multiple Offers Expert Designation. I had a student in Florida who had 37 multiple offers on a home. 37 people kept bidding that thing up, getting rid of contingencies. So it's not like we'll have a problem with lenders getting stuck with stuff. These people that paid 20, 30, 40, 50,000 and borrowed only half are going to lose that fast if something goes wrong. And that's going to be an opportunity to find those properties. And you can see, and it be in the MLS, I can see things. I can see when somebody overbought. There's no way that place is they're going to have to stay there a hell of a long time to get back that extra money they paid to move in now. Can't delay instant gratification. You don't build wealth. So what they did.
So really quick, guys, just a sidebar. So Wayne said 1031 exchange. That's a capital gains strategy that you can use to purchase other properties and not have to pay capital gains. There's actually another method that's less well known that I like just as much. It just depends on the situation, through owner financing. I think it's section, it's section 404. It's a installment loans, what the IRS calls it. And it's section, I was just looking at this. It's section 453 of the UX tax code. And that can defer depending on how you structure the deal. I mean, you can defer capital gains like another 15, 20, 30 years if you use that strategy as well, because what the government wants is they want their tax money if you've received the money. But if you end up turning that money into a loan, you haven't received that money yet. And so you're able to then just pay out a fraction of what the taxes are. As well. So that's something that's not as well known that as 1031s, that's in many cases as or more effective.
While we're on maybe some things not well known, a lot of people have no idea you can have a real estate self-directed IRA for retirement. And because some people, that's a little more conservative than the buying and holding or investing or flipping. But it's unknown kind. You don't have to go into a lender or some insurance company to get an IRA. You can put real estate in your IRA. It's a strategy. It may not be for everybody, but it's a strategy.
Yeah, and there's nuances there. Like
Yes.
you can't lend for if your son wants to buy a piece of real estate, you can't do that. And there's definitely things to be aware of there.
Absolutely.
And but yeah, there's a time and place for that too. And in some regards, Wayne, I don't know if you've noticed or seen this, but doing what I've been doing the last 5 years, really trying to teach and talk to people and connect is like all the different strategies and all the different ways to do it can get a little overwhelming. So how do you keep it simple? Like how do you keep it simple where you're still making progress and still making money? Like what's worked for you over the years?
Nothing more than simply capitalization rate. I don't worry about anything else because I'm basically a single family, multi-unit, small multi-unit. I'm not commercial. I never wanted to play that game. Some people tell me I should have because I got tenant problems and other issues. I'm happy with residential. I know residential. I've got a realtor license, real estate license. So I look at capitalization rate. If the cap rate works, and cap rate to me is a very simple definition, return of and return on an investment. All the other stuff is way too complex. If those numbers work, I'm fine.
So what threshold are you looking at for your yes, no decision as far as the cap rate goes?
It's going to vary by what I look at in terms of a long-term appreciation, a better quality neighborhood, a lot of other factors. I mean, multi-units, I can get high cap rates because I've got high rents. Maybe it's a lower level type building. Some of my luxury homes, I don't expect that, but I've got a different kind of rent. I'm in an area called the North Shore, and we have a lot of consulates in Chicago who wanted their people to have great homes for entertaining, would sign 5-year leases in very expensive properties, high-end properties. That's a whole different kind of buy than buying a 4-flat someplace. So you can't really put a number on, but looking at the market, looking at the history, there's a crazy phrase that here we are again with a little bit of inflation. Alexander Tytler had this quote, "Those who don't understand history are bound to repeat it." If you don't know how to handle this inflation, if you never handle the last one right, you'll make the same mistakes. The wealth's going to transfer. Some of you, unfortunately, have to be the transferor. You lose it. Somebody else is the transferee, ready to get it.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah. So you're eyeing up wanting to buy more real estate right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at it again just to have some fun. I'm thinking, and you hit it right on the head. I'm looking at these things like every other realtor. Why are you not buying these things? You come to my seminar, you get all excited. I tell you, well, you buy, and it's easier to make excuses than to make goals in real estate investing. It's easier to make excuses than to make goals. I can see them. Why can't you see them? They're sitting there, no money down, very little down. Rent in there, guaranteed rents from the government, all kinds of opportunities. Every single day, I open up the MLS and I see these opportunities. It's like a kid in a candy store to me. If you have access to the MLS, and if you're an investor, you find somebody who helps you do that. There's just so much out there, and you're going to see more because of this inflation and the transferring of wealth. I'm convinced of it.
Wayne, it's so funny that like the fear element, especially for the realtors that want to do it. So in the St. Louis market, my business partner Ryan and I were talking about this yesterday. It took about 13 years from the biggest real estate recession and depreciating market that we've ever had to like really have it rebound and get back, and to where it went, kind of gangbusters. If you think about it, if you're buying these properties with a window of I'm going to hold on to it for 20 or 30 years, like literally you could buy the property in like 2006 at the exact wrong time and still make a ton of money on that property because you just held on to it for long enough.
And that's the time perspective and the exit strategy I'm focusing on for people. That's all it is. And I'm not saying it's the only strategy. Yeah. I mean, my friend, right, he's flipped 5,000 homes. Now, if he made just 2,000 each time, he made 100,000 and he's happy. See, the key is, are you happy in your investment portfolio? Does it make sense to you and your family and whoever else you're involved with? That's why I hesitate to get people thinking about, I got equity in my house, I'm going to use it to buy an income property. That scares me. There's got to be a lot of conversation in that before that decision is made in my mind, because that anything can happen. I'd rather use that equity line on those income properties and get some credit cards, which are unsecured credit. And they're a dime a dozen. Jesus, I can't open the mailbox every day and I get some 0% off.
So when you had 22, like back when you first did that strategy, how much total credit did you get from those 22 cards?
59,000.
59,000. So this is, 59 grand 40 years ago. I mean, that's, in perspective, that's worth probably a couple hundred at least now, like 300 plus.
I could do that right now if I wanted to go out, just use more credit cards.
And then did you rinse and repeat that throughout the years, or did that like get your start and then you started doing other stuff?
Because it's other people's money. And like I say, I can get in there. Then as soon as I'm at the closing, now I got a property it's got a zero loan on. I got no mortgage. Somebody will lend me money. I can pay those if they're higher rates. Now, if they're zero for 15 months. Right now I'm getting, Citi just sent me one. 0% 15 months. That's the down payment. I got 15 months to pay that back.
What's your credit score?
Lousy.
I was gonna say it can't be great.
Because I pay. But I pay as agreed. That's the key. You keep paying as agreed, they keep offering you more. Pay as agreed. The magic words in a credit report: pay as agreed. 3 words. I don't default. I pay them consistent. I got an Excel spreadsheet,
and then you use the HELOC when the 15 months is up. Boom, HELOC.
Boom. It's a system. It's not for everybody. Thank God for Excel spreadsheets. I'd be screwed.
Wayne, how many credit cards have you opened in your life?
About 200. I have 202 left.
202 left. Oh, I love this.
But see, that's what I told you earlier. If I have to spend $5,000 on a boiler today, I'm using the credit card that had a closing date yesterday. So I got a bill. They don't know that until March 1st. I got till April 1st to pay that or find that $5,000. That's using other people's money. But you got to have a system. This doesn't work because if you don't keep track of things, these people they're hoping you'll screw up. They're hoping you'll screw up on this.
Yeah, and you can't, because like if you get past that 15 months, we're talking big money. You
wiped out everything in one day missing. So this is not for the person who's not organized. You better have somebody you can or auto pay all the time. Make sure there's money in the accounts, because you screw up once. That's the same as buying furniture. They'd love to let you buy your furniture for 5 years at 0%, no money down. On that fourth, you miss one payment. Now it goes back to day one. And you're screwed. Yeah, I just watched I'm getting off topic, but I was going to share one story about Aaron's rental furniture I just saw on TV.
Go ahead. Yeah.
$598 TV. If you rent to own, almost $2,000, paying $79 a month. A 500, and you probably could get it cheaper if I looked. 65-inch Vizio TV, $598 with payments of $79 a month. It's almost $2,000. You can't build wealth doing that. See, the power tool in the consumer workshop's working against you instead of for you.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Because your little rut becomes a grave. And you can't get out of it. Little rut sounds so good. $79, 79, 70. Pretty soon, Jesus,
and it's not the 79. It's when you compile that with a car payment and everything else.
I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, you are. Yeah, you absolutely are. So, one question I want to get to, like we're kind of getting on time here, is I like to ask it, and I'm really interested from your perspective, being that you've been doing this since the 80s. If you kind of went back in time and you met yourself, before you did your first deal, what would be the most important piece of actionable advice that you would have given yourself to set yourself up for success?
Well, again, my background was my parents were very, very poor. My only goal in life growing up was to have a place I could live in where the address wasn't a half. We lived at 242 and a half, 236 and a half, 385 and a half. We always rented. And I just wanted a property I could live in that had a whole number. It was mine. And then I started reading and looking at how, because my father worked so hard but couldn't work smart. And I watched and said, there's got to be a better way. Hence, the book that turned me around was Andrew Carnegie. And then I got very excited about some motivational speakers like Zig, but more importantly, W. Clement Stone. And I became one of his proteges in working for his combined insurance company. And I sold Earl Nightingale motivational tapes to get me thinking positive, that positive mental attitude. And pretty soon I started to believe in myself and said, risk equals reward. I got to take a risk. But the only thing I could say is I wish I would have done it earlier. I didn't start till 84. I could have started in 74.
How old were you in 84?
Let's see. I was born in 48.
Okay.
You can do the math. I'm not good at that.
What's that, 36? Is that?
Yeah. Okay. So I could have started at 26. And look at that time perspective. Look how much more I would, not that I need more or want more, but I can now do more for more people because I have that ability to be philanthropic. I just made a challenge to a realtor board to get 12 people, and I'm going to match their funds because I'm big on major investors in the realtor organizations. But that's another whole issue. The point is, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And you don't want to be the richest in the cemetery. And so I'm enjoying my life thanks to some sacrifices. And there's some screw ups too. I made some bad deals. This is not I've had whatever, but I've had good tenants. I've learned. I've never evicted anybody. But I found out it's much cheaper to offer them pictures of Benjamin Franklin to move quickly. It ain't working out. It's the first of the month. You're behind from last month. Here's 5 pictures of Benjamin Franklin. You'll be out by the 5th.
Yeah, then a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, okay, sure."
And 10 will move them for sure. You show somebody $1,000 who's got some problems in life. They don't wreck the place. They don't damage the place. There's no forcible entry and detainer notices. There's no court. There's no attorney fees. I've never evicted.
Yeah, we had a scenario that got ugly that took us 18 months to get somebody out through kind of the courts and evictions. And this scenario was unfortunately like it was our only choice because the guy knew how to play the court system, had already done it, and like kind of he was playing the whole game that he was, we tried to offer him money and he didn't do it. But yeah, I mean, I can attest to that. I mean, for sure, anytime you can just get them out more amicably, it's going to, not only even just the money standpoint, but just for your peace of mind to have to go through.
And you can flip and turn. The other thing that for me became critical is because I'm so focused on housing choice vouchers, at least in my market, I can't speak for all of them, the people are afraid to be kicked out because they're in a powerful school district. They want to take care of their kids, and they take care of better places than regular tenants. I swear. And I get inspected every year, so I can't be a slum landlord. I mean, a simple thing as a cracked plate over an outlet, they won't approve it till I fix that. So at least in Illinois, I can't speak for all housing choice vouchers. I'm glad I have a tenant who's afraid to move because they'll fix things, they'll do things, they'll plant flowers. They love where they're at. They just need some help.
So we don't necessarily housing choice vouchers. So like in Missouri, so when I hear you say that, I think Section 8. Yeah, is that the same thing, or is there a difference?
Well, they're trying to make Section 8 sound like it was for poor people. There's a lot of people right now in Illinois. We have people who are renting $3,000-$4,000 apartments on a housing choice voucher. 35% of the people are disabled or elderly, and 40% of the recipients are employed. They just don't have enough money. So housing choice voucher is a nice way to say Section 8.
Okay. And then
that's the new language.
And then like in your world with kind of like the Chicago market or whatnot, just the expense of it, you have a little bit more of a dynamic of that than, our real estate's a little more affordable. So
yeah, but again, they're paying the money. I mean, this 6-bedroom that I have in Northbrook, I can get up to $4,225 from a Section 8 tenant.
Yeah.
I could not get over 4,000 if I put it in the marketplace. I get more rent. And they are there for years until the kids finish school or something, get married or something happens. So I got long-term tenants, take better care of the place. I'm inspected every year. I get tax benefits like you wouldn't believe, like I mentioned. So to me, it's a win-win. And I know what it's like to be a renter, to not have a lot and struggle. So it's kind of like a give back also, because I needed help.
So that's fantastic that you do that. So Wayne, we're really at time right now, but like how, if your message has resonated to anybody listening in, what's the best way to get a hold of you? Like, do you have a website or anything? Or
Wayne at WaynePaprocki.com. So there's my screen name is on there. Just put Wayne at WaynePaprocki.com. I'll say my phone number slowly. Love to talk to somebody. I'm lonely, so call me. 847-293-2369.
2369.
In real estate, my partner is Michael Lafido, who does a luxury marketing designation across the country. I do a real estate negotiation designation across the country. So maybe you'll see us. We're going to be in Texas at the end of the month.
Oh, wow.
But, feel free to call. I'm glad I had the opportunity to share some thoughts. Again, maybe what I said is not for everybody. And like I think you said, I didn't say anything earth-shattering, said in a different way. I think maybe I hopefully reminded you of things to do. If I can remind you to don't make excuses, make some goals to buy some real estate as an investment, whether you flip it, whether it's long-term, whether you partner with somebody, put money in a syndication. I don't really care how you do it, but it's the ideal investment because it gives you income I, depreciation D, equity buildup E, appreciation A, and leverage L. It's not the best, it's the ideal.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's a wrap, guys. Thanks so much for your time, Wayne. All right, guys. So that's a wrap on today's episode. For the full show notes and episode details, just go to doorstodeals.com/079 for more information. And then if you're looking to build passive income, just send us over an email, deals@3doors.com, deals@3doors.com. We can help you out just like we've been helping other people out. And the last stat that I looked at was that we've been generating about $130,000 a month, $130,000 a month because our company exists for people, and we can help you out too. So just send us over that email to deals@3doors.com. So go out, live your purpose, and above all else, go after your dreams. Till next time, guys. Thanks for tuning into this show. For more episodes and resources that will unlock doors to deals, check out our website, doorstodeals.com.